lot of things been on my mind lately. A lot of things I've been ruminating and contemplating. A lot of things have been stolen and taken by Satan. A lot of things I don't know about, I'm just trying to make it, but he can't faze me. Forget the 10, my Lord God made me, I ain't talking Mike.
All right, well, we are back here at the Growth Environment. I'm so excited. I have a fellow bro that, man, we used to play football back in the day, man.
Oh, yeah.
Fellow lineman with me. You know, linemen have bonds because we block for one another, we help one another. And so David Vasquez, who is the owner of, again, the Massage for Wellness LLC. It's a mobile massage place. And so, David, for those who are unfamiliar with the business, why don't you tell us a little more about it and how you got started?
Yeah, so before I could answer that question on how I started, I got to talk about like how it started. So to answer this question is going to be in layers. So basically how I started massage, it started back in 8th grade when a group of officials came in. I think it was the first time when the Promise for the Future scholarship came out.
Yep.
So all of us, we signed that document, and after that they took the documents, and then we had to wait till we got into high school. And I think at that time it was like the top 5% of your senior class cumulative GPA, I believe that's what it was.
Yeah.
So doing that, once I got into high school, it had to be my freshman or sophomore year where we had to do an assignment. And basically the assignment was you went onto the government website for job outlooks.
Okay.
And then we basically did our research. And for me, I saw that 2012 to 2024, there was going to be a big high demand for massage therapists.
Oh, wow.
And 2012 is the year I actually graduated from high school. So I kind of knew I wanted to be in the healthcare field. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and give it a try. Well, it wasn't until my sophomore year I found out about CAVIT.
Yeah.
And when I found out about that, I went ahead and applied, and I got selected to be one of the few students to be in that program, which is located in Coolidge. And then I got in day one. My instructor was Ben Barth, is no longer here, rest in peace. From day one I fell in love with it and never looked back.
Wow.
Our first year, I remembered our instructor was telling us that like at the end of our senior year, we were going to be fully licensed right out of high school.
Wow.
So I was like, oh man, gosh. So I don't have to go to college. And I'm going to go ahead and be a fully licensed massage therapist. Well, when I got to my senior year, at the time the governor was Jan Brewer, and whatever officials, I don't know what organizations they were from, but they basically said that we needed a second year of accreditation for CAVIT for the massage students.
Okay.
So basically I was the cutoff from 2012, so I was already a senior, so that meant I had to go somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of sad, but then I was like, all right, well, let's see what's in store. So basically I finished my senior year there at CAVIT and Santa Cruz, graduated, and then basically found out that I got the Promise for the Future scholarship, and to go back into high school, during our lunch break, one of our senior year, our advisor at the time was Frank Jimenez, and he always tells the seniors like, hey, on your lunch break, go ahead and fill out applications and sign up for scholarships. Well, a lot of seniors are not going to go ahead and go on their lunch break to do that. So there was only a handful of us that did it. So, of course, went ahead and filled them out day in, day out. And then what was nice, at the end of the year awards, my senior year, I ended up getting like majority of the book scholarships. So I got called up a handful of times. So I was like, and later on you'll know it went to use. But yeah, it was a great feeling. So I took all those scholarships that I got, transferred to Central Arizona College, and then finished the course there. I think I had like 9 months left, and finished it. And then once I finished, I came out of school, no debt. The scholarship paid for all those, for the whole semester. And then I ended up getting my Associates of Science there. So when I graduated, I had no debt at all. So it was a clean slate. So I was like, all right, let's go.
That's amazing. Real quick, David, what would you attribute that to? Because not a lot of people in high school, like I know for myself, dude, I did not have my head on straight. I was definitely not one of those students filling out those scholarships. What would you attribute that to? Like, was that your parents' upbringing? Was that just something that, hey, I don't care, like I don't want to do what everyone else is doing, I'm just going to do it? Like what was that, and how did that happen?
So this may sound funny, but yes, my parents played a role, but who played the biggest role was my fiance, Sonia, because of course she has high standards. So
yeah, I
had to make sure I was in line so that I make sure that I could eventually be with her. So she was one of the main reasons why I went in and actually filled out those paperwork. Because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have been like all the other seniors out there, just all right, just lunch, all right.
Wow.
Next class.
Real MVP, Miss Sonia. Okay, right on. That's amazing, man.
Sure.
Wow. Because it's so easy, man, in life just to, I don't know, kind of mess around or just, take the path of least resistance. But to go forward, whatever's motivating you, whether that's a Sonia or whether that's someone in your life, whether that's us and you guys are listening on the podcast, man, to just encourage you to go after it. That's amazing. And it's awesome, David, to see you continue to take this path of least resistance or resistance, because you are going into business now. You're in business and you're doing something on your own, which the safer route is, working for a company, which no knock on people who work for a business or anything like that, or, work for a company, but to have your own, I mean, that's a very resisted path. And so what's kind of motivated you from there, from now going from school, or maybe let me retract. You went from school and you got your scholarships, and man, that's amazing. Debt free. Where did you go from there? Did you immediately start your business, or I believe we were kind of talking before I believe you start working at massage places. Correct?
Yeah. So right after that, before I even started working for a company, right after I graduated my senior year, my uncle Rene Verduzco, shout out to West Texas Gloveman, my Aunt Courtney, my grandma Elizabeth, they all pitched in money and bought me a massage table.
Oh, nice.
And it came with a case, and then it had like sheets along with it. So that was like my graduation gift. So I had pretty much everything right there for me ready to go.
Wow.
But in school, we were kind of like taught, like after we graduated, to go work for a company, and there was a lot of companies looking for students. So I kept my stuff that I received to the side, and then I ended up working with a few companies, which I can't, policy reasons, I can't name the name of it for sure. But I started off with a few places here in Casa Grande, and then after that worked my way up into the valley. From there, working with these different companies on the side, I was just like, I had my own private clients. So like throughout the years, here and there, I would have a few, but nothing too much. It was like maybe about a handful of clients. And then just as the years progressed, then I started gaining more clients from there.
So what was that transition like then to work for a business and then start one out on your own? How did that kind of come about? Okay. And man, like how did you take that leap of faith? Like I said, it sounds like from a young age. Was that Sonia in the background kind of pushing you in that sense, or?
No, because she's always been supportive. It was just me being scared, because it's like any person most people will go through that. It's like, should I not? And I was just playing this thing back and forth for years, and I've always been a person to not take a high risk. I've always thought about like I would say not consequences, but like just scenarios of things like that. So basically
Hey, quick interruption to the growth environment. This is to my business owners and side hustlers out there. If you are needing assistance with your monthly bookkeeping, or man, you need someone to help you get caught up to speed because you've kind of been neglecting the financial tracking, well, I want to introduce you to my wife and I's business called Trubooks LLC. This is bookkeeping you can trust. We've been helping different businesses across the states by supporting them with their monthly bookkeeping. So that's something that you're needing assistance with. We'd love to be that support to you. And hey, I want to offer you 30% off the first month by just connecting with us, and just because you're a listener of the growth environment. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and email us at info@trubooks.net, and you can just say, hey, Josue sent me from the Growth Environment Podcast, and we'll get you that 30% discount for your first month. Anyways, back to the show.
I was just trying to figure out what I really wanted to do, and like for some reason I just couldn't pull the trigger. So I ended up talking to my brother, Matthew Vasquez. Shout out to him. Back and forth, we would just talk about like business stuff, because he's already had his own plumbing business, All-Purpose Plumbing LLC. So I was like, it's okay working for companies, but like I always felt like, man, I wonder what it would be like to be your own boss. And like I would just have conversations with my brother, and knowing that he had his business, he kind of let me know like information ins and outs about like having a business and stuff. And from that, I think one of the last talks I had with them, like finally made me believe. I was like, okay, I really want to do this now. I'm gonna pull the trigger. And I went ahead and created my own LLC, which has been a year and 3 months.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
how exciting, man. Like I know it's nerve-wracking to step into that. Like I know for my wife, we were back and forth on this conversation. She has a bookkeeping business. And so, there were some of those things like, do I get a job, or do I just have a skill that I know that I can just do? And she started connecting with one client, and she wasn't even looking for it. Someone just said, oh, she's really organized. She can help you out. So she went forward, and from there, it's like, boom, another referral. And then it's like, all right, it kind of organically develop where it's like, all right, now let's really push for this thing and really go forward with it and get serious about it. And so now she's full-time with that, operating that. And so that's amazing. I'm so happy for her in that, but that takes a lot of courage, man. So you just talking with your brother, he gave you some advice. What were some of the ins and outs that he kind of threw at you? What were some of the nuggets that if someone's listening, David, and says like, man, I'm kind of in between, I've been thinking about it, but I'm nervous. What were some of those words, I guess, that kind of gave you the courage to take that step?
Well, I mean, like the big one was like you can make your own schedule the way, like how you want it. So that was like a big one for me, because knowing that if you have kids and they're in sports and stuff, you got to take them to practice, take them to their games, and be at their games and stuff. And I've always been a family person. I always want to be there for my kids. So that was a big one. Another was just going over like if you have your own business, like what type of tax write-offs you can get and stuff, so for tax purposes and stuff like that. But
I love that. I don't know if you've seen that graph before. Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about this. It's like where money comes in for an employed person. You have to pay your taxes first, and then you have all your expenses, and then taxes, your expenses, personal expenses, then you have whatever's left over.
The assets,
And then on the other side, where as a business, you pay yourself first, and then, your expenses, and then at the end, whatever's left over is your taxes. Which again, I'm not a financial advisor, so go, look at that. But it's just a book reference from Robert Kiyosaki that standing on that business side, that there are some benefits of doing something on your own. Has it been challenging, man? Like just taking that step out, or is it, and feel free to just disclose whatever you're comfortable with, but it's like, what are some of the I guess, unknown, let me rephrase that. What are some of the unknown challenges that you didn't expect that you came into this and it's like, man, I wish someone maybe would have told me a little more before taking this step, or something that you learned?
So the unknowns, I would say one unknown, we'll just be going back prior to, like, not related to me having my own business, but like as a massage therapist, when you graduate from school, they always tell you like, oh, you're going to get paid hourly. Well, they ingrain that in your head.
Yeah.
And when you get to work for a company, in most cases, yeah, it's not technically hourly. It's about how many people you do in a day.
Oh, okay.
So like that was one of the biggest things because they instilled it in our head like, hey, yeah, you could be making this every hour, but in reality,
it didn't check out like that.
Yeah, it didn't,
Oh, okay.
it didn't check out like that. So like
Wow.
each company has their own like pay bracket and stuff like that. And yeah, that was one of the biggest ones. I was like, it was an eye opener. Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like that kind of prepared you though, like for business in that sense? Because normal times, what people would assume, you know, like going into a business, like, oh, I'm gonna have this constant revenue. Well, that's where the fear kind of comes in, because in a business, you're really relying on the business to be that consistency for you. Where then, you know, when you step out on your own, it's kind of you're hunting. You're going out and hunting for yourself. So whatever you hunt is what you get. And so if you didn't get anything that day, so it looks very different. It's not consistent. It has its ups and downs, but that's why like your real highs, you don't, you know, go out on vacation on your highs. You're like, no, that's supposed to last me some as I'm going out. So did you feel like that kind of prepared you for that? Or,
I mean, in school, not really. In the real world, like starting off working with the companies, yes.
Okay.
I actually learned a lot throughout the years working with them because then it translated into what I'm doing now as a business owner.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, I do got to ask this, all right, because this is something that I had kind of listed out, and it's nothing to do with business, but it has to do with massaging.
Okay.
Right? So for those who love their significant other and they want to bless them with a massage, what are some of the common things that you see that's like, man, dude, why are you doing that? Like, that's terrible. Or like some of the common mistakes, like help us love our spouses a little better. Like what's a tip that you can give us for giving some massages?
Oh, man. That's
Call Massage Wellness, first off. You know, they'll do it better, but...
Yeah, I mean, basically... just trying to find the right pressure for that person. I mean, you can't just go in and what most people do, they just go in right at it deep and they're like, that hurts. No, you got to get to know that person and know what pressure that they can take and what's best for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you just kind of ask as you're massaging them, like, hey, is this pressure good or, you know, more or softer or? So
to answer that, that's kind of difficult one because basically it's like a gift that I have and not a lot of therapists have. So throughout the years of being a massage therapist, it may sound crazy, but it's actually true in the sense like how I do my massages. I always get told a lot that I have healing hands and stuff. So when I'm doing my massages, I can actually, and I have clients that can vouch for it too.
Yeah.
I can connect with their body to the point where their body can let me know what type of pressure I need to give them. Yeah. And it's been to a point where a lot of my clients, even new clients, they don't even have to tell me what type of pressure to give because I know how to read their body. Yeah. And I just adjust accordingly to what they're wanting.
Oh, that's amazing, man. That's super cool.
Oh, man.
We were just talking about this because we were talking about your son, man. And just, again, congratulations. That's so amazing with what's happening with him. I'm praying for major success for him, man, in baseball. That's awesome. But, you know, one of the things of just doing things for a lot of time, you become an expert, you know, the 10,000 hour rule. Oh, yeah. And so I imagine you putting a lot of time into massaging and putting your hands on people where you can just read. And I believe there's a gift too, man. That's amazing. So I encourage you guys to go check them out, especially if you're in the Pinal area or in Arizona. Give them a call. Now, I've heard this, David, and I love this analogy of it. You know, business is like a car, and money is like gas. And so, you know, people don't buy a car so I can have a lot of gas. You know, they buy a car so they can get somewhere. Mm-hmm. For you, what's that destination that you're trying to get to with your business?
I mean, honestly, I love what I do, but it's hard to feel like it's a business when you love doing it. Like when you love doing it, it's like, it's something that's like hard to describe. Yeah. But to see how far or where I would go in the future, I mean, my main thing is just trying to help as much people as I can because I have a passion for what I do.
Yeah.
I love what I do, and there's no better feeling than helping people and making a difference in their lives and changing their lives.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what
That's amazing, man.
I'd say, yeah.
Well, that's super cool. And I know your passion for your family is huge, and I know that you're going to be a huge foundation for your kids, man, that are going to be able to go out with utilizing this vehicle to be there and be there for them, because that's amazing. But what is something, man, that you would tell someone that's wanting to get into business or that they're in business right now? What advice would you give them, man?
So for the people that are like how I was back then, like just trying to decide if should I not? I mean, the biggest thing I would probably say is just think about every scenario. I mean, where you're at in life, and good and bad, just go over them. And like even at the bad stuff, like there's so many unknowns. So it's like you never know what can happen, but you just got to make sure, like, if this happens, will I be okay? If this happens, will I be okay?
Yeah.
Like, you just got to think about everything. And I've always been that type of person to think about the future. Like, as simple as, like, man, if my car breaks down, do I have a backup? Like, stuff like that. You just got to make sure that all the corners are covered.
Yeah.
So that would be a big one. I would say believe in yourself. Talk to other people that have businesses to get an idea if you want to become a business owner or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And if you were talking to that same person, they were to ask you, like, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned in just starting your own business and going out there, what would you say?
Ooh, man, this is true. What a lot of business people say, and I hear it a lot. I mean, if you want business, how's the saying go? If you want to make money, you got to spend money. Mm-hmm. So that's like a thing that I always, and it's true to this day, especially when it comes to, like, if you're in a field where you want to gather clients, you got to spend money to get clients, meaning like in advertising or anything that deals with money to try to gather clients to go to your own practice. Yep. Yeah, that's one of the biggest ones right there. And I hear it a lot. It's like, if you want business, you got to spend money.
Yeah. That's something that I've given advice to. I work with, a church. I work with different, businesses consulting wise. And one of the things that has rung true, I've heard a mentor say this, is you can't step over dollars to pick up dimes. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's like too many times we try to save as much as we can, which is good. That's a good mindset that you have. You do need to spend wisely. You do need to be a good steward or a manager of your finances, not be reckless. But sometimes, that mentality that's just, I got to hold on to everything. Sometimes you're stepping over dimes to pick up, or you're stepping over dollars to pick up these dimes. You're trying to save some change that, man, if you would be willing to make some of those expenses, that can actually bring in more revenue than you trying to save those little things. And so that's amazing. And that's awesome, a tip for people is that you got to spend some money or make some wise investments in order to bring return. For you, where have you drawn that balance, David, where you decide what is a wise investment versus, man, this is kind of a poor, like, I'm not gonna spend my high dollar on that.
Well,
and I know it's different. It's going to be different for everyone who's listening because it's dealing with massage therapy. But I don't know. There's probably some examples that we can correlate it to everyone else.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, in the massage field, like especially doing mobile business, for me, I always look a few months out on my schedule and see how booked I am. And then what I do, I go off of that. And then if I get 2 weeks where there's some holes, gaps, where I'm like, hey, I can try to see if I could get more clients to fill up those hours that I need to get filled up, then I'll spend money to make ads. Mm-hmm. So usually for the longest it's been on Facebook, and I try to get it all the way across where people can see my ads, click on them, and try to book an appointment. But when I first started out, like with my LLC business, I did a broad range where I cover from Tucson all the way to up in the valley.
Oh, wow.
That's when I started out, so I can get as much clients as I could possible.
Yeah.
And now I'm to a point where I'm lowering, I'm enclosing the border of where I cover, because just having a car and then gas mileage and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at right now with that. But money wise, it's just advertising is like probably the best thing that you can do as a mobile massage therapist.
Okay.
But then another big one is word of mouth.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome, David. I appreciate you taking the time to, just connect with us and give us some advice and just give us some wisdom, man, for businesses. How can people get connected with you?
Meaning?
For like massages and just for,
Yeah. So,
get a touch of those healing hands, man.
I mean, especially people that are in the Pinal County, they'll be able to see like my advertisements. Pretty much they're all over Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff. Yeah. But I have my own website, Massage for Wellness LLC, massagebook.com. I'm always running promos and stuff like that. But if you can't find me on my website, then you could always give me a call on my number, 520-560-4592.
Nice.
And then you could always get a hold of me, and we can always make an appointment.
That's awesome. Well, hey guys, I encourage you, if you're listening or watching, to connect with David, especially if you're in the Pinal area, to get that massage. It's a mobile massage, so you're going to show up to their front door. Okay, that's amazing.
All in home.
Wow, that's awesome. So he'll come straight to you. So I encourage you guys to connect with David if you're in the Pinal area and get a massage from those healing hands, man. Yeah. Well, thank you, man. We appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yep. See ya.